The world is home to a multitude of different cultures, superstitions, and traditions. Each country has its own set of unique customs and manners governing everything from meal times to driving. These unspoken rules are followed unthinkingly by the locals, but can often be difficult for visitors to follow. So in this video, I'm going to show you a list of some ultimate travel don'ts so you can avoid making an embarrassing faux pas or wrong step.
Welcome to Taufik Aziz TV.
Pointing your finger at people is seen as rude in Bangladesh. Gesture with the palm of your hand instead. Save business for the boardroom in Bolivia. Bolivians frown on talking about money and business over dinner. Flash the OK gesture in Brazil, and you could end up in hot water. This international symbol of goodwill is actually highly offensive to the Brazilians. Touching a native of Cambodia with your feet is the height of bad manners. Cambodians consider feet to be the lowliest part of the body. Canadians are renowned for being easygoing. However, the alcohol laws of Canada are quite strict. It's illegal to drink outdoors in most parts of the country. Eating with your bare fingers is seen as unsophisticated in Chile. Manners are more formal over there. So, even if it's fries, be sure to use your cutlery. When in public in China, do not put your fingers in your mouth. Habits such as nail biting and thumb sucking are seen as crude and unhygienic. Do not also give clocks or umbrellas as gifts. These items are seen as unlucky items. This is because the Chinese words for clock and umbrella sound like the words for death and separation. Lastly, do not wave your chopsticks around in China. To them, it's like drumming with your knife and fork. While in Croatia, do not raise your thumb, middle, and index fingers all at once. This is not a good thing to do in Croatia, as it is known as the Serbian three-finger salute. So doing this in Croatia could cause you to be mistaken for a Serbian nationalist. A floral gifts could backfire in Cyprus. Never give white lilies as a gift, since they are strongly associated with funeral rites. The Emirate of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates is strongly Islamic, and the law holds modesty in high regard. Kissing and holding hands in public is illegal. You want to do this at your peril. While in Egypt, do not put your feet on the table or point the soles of your shoes at others. This behavior is not acceptable and might offend the people around you.
In Ethiopia, a single individual plate for food is considered wasteful. Food is served in communal plates. Do not forget to say hello in France. Bonjour, madame, or bonjour, monsieur should be the first words out of your mouth. Otherwise, you are subtly showing you feel the person is beneath you. Do not also talk or ask about money. Money talk is considered rude. You can talk about it in general terms, but talking about specifics is downright frowned upon. For example, you can tell someone you quit a job because you were underpaid, but you should not mention how much exactly. There are old taboos about speaking of money in the French culture. Many people consider it a dirty topic. Do not expect the French people to speak English. The French educational system is bad at teaching foreign languages, with an excessive focus on reading and writing compared to conversational skills. Many older people will only know a bit of bad and heavily accented English and or possibly German or Spanish. Do not also break eye contact when proposing a toast in France. If you look away before you have clinked glasses with everyone, you are doomed to 7 years of bad sex. Also, do not expect a huge amount of vegan options. Notify people you visit and be careful in which restaurants you go. Very few people are vegan in France compared to some other countries. And although the situation is slowly improving, the awareness and acceptance of it are still quite poor. Some older people, especially, can consider it a weird or even radical behavior. Lastly, do not cut your salad with a knife and fork in France. It is seen as bad etiquette. Never do the Nazi salute when in Germany, not even in jest. It is a crime, and every year there are tourists arrested for it. Do not also carry any Nazi symbols on you, and do not stare. You would appear either uneducated or mentally ill. Do not also be overly friendly. Germans like to gradually warm up to people and take time to really get to know them before acting like best friends forever. In Germany, you do not desire happy birthday wishes or congratulate other people for their birthdays before the actual day. The origin is a superstition that something bad will happen to them. like they might die before their birthday if you do. However, this rule is not limited to superstitious people. Even bright, rational Germans will feel uncomfortable because it is just not done. Do not also talk with your hands in your pockets. It is considered bad manners. It is also customary to keep your hands on the table while you are eating. Lastly, the autobahns or motorways in Germany are renowned for their lack of speed limits. However, they are not totally lawless, as running out of fuel is illegal. The stop gesture, that is, holding your palm out, is seen as abrupt in most countries. However, in Greece, it is referred to as mutza, and it is highly insulting. Don't clink glasses when toasting in Hungary. It is associated with the execution of the 13 martyrs of Arad in 1849. While in India, do not touch or make physical contacts with the opposite sex in public. Hugging and handshakes among members of opposite sex are still frowned upon in most parts of the country. So, unless the locals offer to hug or handshake, do not attempt it first. Do not also kiss in public. In some jurisdictions, this can get you into jail under public obscenity. A lot of the Indian laws are stuck in the Victorian era. In the Indian culture, the left hand is as well thought of as unclean. So always use your right hand to greet someone, exchange money, or pick up merchandise. As in many other Asian countries, you should not eat with your left hand in Indonesia. It is traditionally used to perform bodily ablutions and is therefore seen as unclean. Showing the soles of your shoes or feet to someone is extremely insulting in Iraq. Over there, feet are seen as unclean body parts. When in Ireland, do not try to imitate the Irish accent. To the Irish, they do not have a singular accent, but rather plenty of distinct accents, depending on what part of Ireland they are from. And do not say top of the morning to you. They find it really irritating. Do not also be cheap. For instance, if someone is offering to buy you a drink in a round situation at a pub, it is perfectly acceptable to say, "Oh, I am on a budget. I will get my own." It is not okay to join the rounds and then not pay for one. Lastly, Do not call the UK the mainland. As far as the Irish are concerned, France is the mainland. In Italy, do not order a kind of coffee drink called cappuccino in the afternoon or after dinner. For peculiar reasons, native Italians do not do that. Do not also feed the pigeons in the Italian city of Venice. This was outlawed by the Italian authorities so as to maintain the cleanliness of all the surfaces that contribute to the city's splendor. Do not tip anyone in Japan. Service at restaurants and hotels will likely be exceptional in Japan, but tipping is not done, and it could be seen as degrading. Tipping is just not part of their culture. Do not even leave the smallest change, because people will come running after you with it. Also, avoid giving 4 or 9 of anything to a Japanese person. These numbers are believed to be unlucky, and your gift will not be appreciated. Do not also wear your shoes in someone's house. If you see other people taking their shoes off, do the same. Note that there is usually a small area right inside the entrance called a genkan, which is usually one level below the rest of the house, where you take off your shoes. You will not actually take them off outside the house. And do not hug people you just met. Most people do not like it, especially the older folks. Do not also stand on the wrong side of the escalator. In Tokyo, you stand on the left, but in Osaka, you stand on the right. Just follow what other people are doing. Lastly, chopsticks are an essential part of daily life in Japan. However, there are strict rules regarding their use. Sticking them upright in a bowl of rice is a funeral rite. Do not do this at the dinner table. Do not hand an empty cup of coffee straight back to your host in Jordan. This indicates that you want more. Rather, shake your wrist to show that you have had enough. Do not disrespect religion in Kenya. Almost everyone you will meet is religious. Religion in Kenya is always in fashion. So if someone asks you if you are religious, do not take offense, because it is common for everyone to follow a religion, and around 80% of the population are Christians. Do not also be impatient. Hardly anything runs on time, with an exception of a couple of business meetings and bank closing hours. and most other businesses, everything runs late. Do not get pissed off or impatient. Learn to go with the flow. Things will happen, just not on time. Do not talk about sex in mixed company. It is wrong and frowned upon, and people might not want to be in your company after that. Lastly, do not call someone by their first name. Rather, saying Miss, Mrs., Mr., Doctor, and Engineer so and so, mostly the surname, are totally accepted. If you want to call someone whose name you do not know, refer to them as Madam or Sir. You will get quite a lot of bonus points for that. Only refer to someone by their first name if they introduce themselves as such. In Malaysia, do not use your forefinger to point at anything, whether people, places, or objects. It is considered rude. Instead, use the thumb of your right hand with the other four fingers folded under. Do not also touch the top of someone else's head. In many Asian cultures, the head is considered to be a sacred part of the body. It is off limits, and ignoring this can risk offense. Do not give or receive objects with your left hand. That is because the left hand is considered unclean. Do not also show the bottom of your feet to anyone. The feet are considered one of the dirtiest parts of the body in Malaysia. Do not as well cross your legs in front of elders and hosts. Crossing one's legs is not an acceptable thing to do, especially among women. It is considered rude. Likewise, do not step over someone who has their legs crossed on the floor. While in Mexico, do not patronize people or make them feel belittled. Do not ever imply that you are better than anyone, especially if that hinges on you being a foreigner. Also, do not be easily offended at locals' jokes. Mexicans have a huge sense of humor as a culture. No amount of jokes is out of bounds for them. They will mock, ridicule, insult, pick on you, and put you down on a regular basis just for the fun of it. You should as well avoid attempting to use a knife and fork when eating a taco. Mexicans normally eat them with their hands. Lastly, do not be afraid to try anything. Mexicans love it when you try to do difficult things, you will be met with proud cheers. If you show a brave attempt at anything, in Nepal, it is considered rude to step over someone's legs. Take the time to walk around them instead. When buying gifts in the Netherlands, steer away from knives and scissors. Giving a sharp object as a present, according to them, is bad luck. Do not whistle in New Zealand. It is considered an insult. Do not also honk, otherwise you will insult people. Never confuse New Zealanders with Aussies. They do not like it. Do not make fun of Lord of the Rings. Kiwis are proud of Lord of the Rings. Do not make jest of rugby. All Blacks is a rugby team and probably a religion. Aka is a war cry performed before a war, or nowadays a rugby match. So do not make fun of it. The Queen of England is still a big deal in New Zealand. They still celebrate her birthday and swear allegiance to her. So do not disrespect her. Lastly, do not freak out about people not wearing shoes. It is perfectly normal to go about in public places without footwear, and in some cases a shirt, and people will still attend to you normally. When you are in Norway, do not stare at naked people. People are pretty relaxed about nudity, and both men and women will, for example, change on public beaches without any attempt at covering themselves up. You are, however, expected to look away. Do not also unwrap flowers before you give them as a gift. This is considered the way of the Germans. And do not ask people about going to church. According to the European Social Survey, only 2% of the Norwegian population attend church. Bringing it up can seem intrusive, rude, and downright weird. Do not also expect a special treatment. People in Norway are very informal, and being on a first name basis with anyone short of the king is the norm. Even the Prime Minister of Norway is most often referred to by first name. Lastly, do not honk in Norway. It is only used in an emergency, so your unnecessary beeping could cause drivers to panic. Be humble when offering a handshake in the Philippines. Strong handshakes can be seen as unfriendly or even aggressive. When in Portugal, never ask for salt and pepper if they are not already on the table. Asking for any kind of seasoning or condiment is to cast aspersions on the cook. The Portuguese are very proud of their cooking. Do not smile at strangers in Russia. They will see it as an intimate gesture indicating a genuine affinity towards another person. If you do not know them, they might consider you insincere. And do not give an even number of flowers to a Russian. Traditionally, even bunches are taken to the grave side. Do not also rely on a credit card, as there are lots of places which only accept cash. Lastly, if you enjoy whistling, be sure to do it outside. In Russia, superstition say that those who whistle indoors are destined for bankruptcy. Chewing gum is illegal in Singapore. The government is dedicated to keeping the streets clean and litter-free. You can actually get fined for a lot of things in Singapore, including feeding the birds, spitting in public, urinating in public, smoking in public, having your pet on public transportation, eating or drinking on public transportation, and public littering, among other things. In South Korea, starting your meal first is considered impolite. Wait for your elders to start eating before you do. Do not stay silent after finishing a meal in Taiwan. To them, belching is complimentary to the chef. If you are a lady, do not touch a Buddhist monk in Thailand or even directly pass him something. Monks are forbidden from touching women. The head is considered to be the most sacred part of the body, so do not touch any Thai person on the head, not even small children. Finally, never insult the Thai royal family. It is against the law and could result in a lengthy prison sentence. Do not make the OK gesture in Turkey. It is considered obscene and offensive. Never forget to always remove your shoes when entering a Turkish person's home. Refusing to do so is extremely rude. Be sure to as well lay off the alcohol. Turks do not drink much, maybe an occasional glass of wine every once in a while, and to them, being drunk is considered a disgrace. Lastly, do not blow your nose or pick your teeth in public. Turks consider both of these impolite when done at a restaurant, cafe, or bar. In Ukraine, clearing your plates indicates that you are still hungry. Always leave a little food on your plate at the end of a meal to avoid insulting your host. Do not also give an even number of flowers to anyone. In the United Kingdom, it is not proper to ask how much people earn. Instead, you can play a curious guessing game by, for instance, asking someone what they do, where they live, where they went on holidays, and then you can figure the rest out by correlating all of that. Do not also invite someone to your home unless you know them very well. Londoners are known for their patience. However, do not stand on the left of a London escalator unless you are prepared for the wrath of stressed out commuters. Lastly, do not cut in line or jump a queue. This is the only crime that the population would consider bringing back a capital punishment for. Do not get out of your vehicle if you are pulled over by the police in the United States of America. This can be seen as aggressive and could land you in trouble. Also, Americans like tips, so do not forget to leave them a tip. Being late to a meal is encouraged in Venezuela. Arriving on time can give the impression that you are greedy. In Vietnam, accepting a gift with one hand can mean that you are not grateful. Always receive a present with both hands to show your gratitude. In conclusion, it goes without saying that the list of what not to do in other countries is endless. What is acceptable in one country can be offensive in another, but we can all agree that good manners are expected when meeting people of different cultures and traditions. If you do accidentally offend someone when in another country, a smile and an apology will definitely go a long way.
Thanks for watching.